You're the CEO of CREM.
Yeah.
To begin with, what is CREM and what do you do at CREM?
Okay, CREM is an acronym for Center for Research in Enterprise and Action in Management. In CREM, we have critical areas we look at. One of them is in learning and development. Another is in marketing and management consulting. We also look at research and development. We also have a good area of demonstration in recruitment, in manpower outsourcing, and in entrepreneurship solutions. These are the services and solutions that we provide to businesses.
Wow, this is awesome. You talk about recruitment. A lot of us, even though this is a business show, I know a lot of us need a job. So probably before the end of this show, you will tell us how we can reach you, those of us who need a job, and and those of us who need good employees. You can also tell us how we can reach you.
Exactly.
So that we can get people who have been trained, who have been mentored, tutored, how they can come on board.
Excellent.
So now there is a big challenge.
All right.
Sometimes people have someone who wants to support their business, and when they are asked to provide a business plan, people don't know what it is. So what is a business plan? First of all, let's begin with that.
Okay, thanks, Emmanuel. I think it's important to give clarity to that term, business plan. So to define a business plan is simply, a document that clearly showcases in very clear and unambiguous terms, what services, what products, the vision, the mission, the goals and the objectives of a brand or a company from inception.
Wow.
So it is important that before you start a business in the first instance, you have to move into a feasibility study via a business plan where you clearly determine various milestones and check if that business will eventually be profitable or not. Because the go or no go decision starts from day one. And that is only provided by a business plan.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I love that definition, but some people are listening and they are still wondering. So where do I find my place in all of this definition? So who needs a business plan and why do they need it?
All right. A business plan is needed by a number of people. One, an entrepreneur. It can be a micro, it can be a small, it can be a medium-sized enterprise. It can even be a large corporate. Whether you are an owner or intending owner, an entrepreneur or an intending entrepreneur, existing entrepreneur, you need a business plan, because there's no way you can start a business that you intend to make bankable.
That's the word, bankable.
They intend to make bankable and also ensure that when you need funding, these documents are going to be available. You can't start without having. In fact, how would you even make a decision to go into that business? The decision cannot be made by wishful thinking. The decision will be made based on researched information, which will be detailed in a business plan. So, a large corporate needs it, medium-sized corporate needs it, small enterprise, even micro enterprise requires a business plan.
Wow. Looking at this, what are some of the components of a business plan?
All right, before I talk about the components, it's important, because we don't know those who are listening to this program, it is important to understand the essence of a business plan.
Why
do I need a business plan? For example, given the example you just mentioned, if an intending entrepreneur, business owner, wants to have access to loan, how will he explain? Can he ask himself those questions that are imperative for determining whether a business is going to be profitable or not? So a business plan becomes a benchmark. It becomes a guideline. It becomes, a guiding document that will enable that entrepreneur to be able to know if the business, first of all, will be profitable or not. He'll be able to measure his milestones and benchmarks and do some competitive scenario. He's also going to be able to say, oh, this looks good or not. And at the end of the day, quarterly, annually, semi-annually, he's looking at those milestones, defined milestones, and smart objectives to be sure that these plans are being met. Otherwise, if without a business plan, it becomes difficult to make those decisions. And your funders won't have any document to look at to say, in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line, that this business will remain sustainable. Yeah.
Wow.
So to talk about the components, right? Okay, that is where we have a critical information to give out. Number one, we talk about what we call executive summary. We are always interested in recommending that a business plan should start with an executive summary. Now, this is a man or a woman who intends to run a business. He has capital, right? Or may not have, but has access to funds. But if you give him a business plan, you don't know his background, he may not understand. But if you put up a summary, or we call executive summary, which encapsulates the key elements in the business plan, that will show him the vision, that will talk about the mission, that will talk about where they are headed, in how many years they tend to go to various milestones. So that executive summary talks about the product itself or services. It tells you clearly the various benchmarks that have been made in determining what has been given at the final decision on the business plan. So that entrepreneur, on looking at the executive summary, will begin to have an idea of what the entire content will be. That's right. The first thing to be done. In now writing the business plan proper, right, the first thing you look at, apart from the executive summary that you're going to do, you look at what we call market analysis. Now you are entering a market.
That's right.
So that business you want to run is going to be in a particular market structure. So the first thing to know is to define in which market am I going to play. Is it what we call monopoly, which rarely exists today? It's what we call oligopoly. Is it oligopoly? Is it duopoly? And so on and so forth. So when you define the market structure, then you look at the elements that make up that structure. That will have an impact on what you do on pricing. That will have an impact on what you do on marketing communications. That will have an impact on what you do on your structure for running it in terms of human beings that will run the business. That will have an impact on every other thing about the business, because you cannot enter into a market that you don't understand.
That's right.
So in order to dig further into that, you look at the macroeconomic elements, that affects this infrastructure. Because we normally say in economics that the superstructure controls the infrastructure. So today you have government, right?
Yeah.
Now you have macroeconomic elements like inflation, for example. Right. We talk about employment or unemployment, fiscal policy measures, and all of that. So those figures are not for story. We advise people read, go to MBS, go to various research institutes, find out what are the benchmarks today. For example, today we talk about something above 24% as inflation rate, which is the highest in the last 18 years. So if you're entering into a business today and you don't check the inflation rate, upon what basis are you going to take a decision? So these are some of the things that you do under market analysis. So when you look at that, you now do what we call SWOT analysis, where you measure the strength, the threat, the opportunities, and even the strength, the weaknesses, the threat, and the opportunities available in the market. You will ask yourself, I'm entering into a market, am I moving into blue ocean? Am I moving into the red ocean strategy? Am I moving even beyond this, what we call the green ocean? Now, if it is the red ocean, you know that the only competing element is price. And I can assure you, nobody wins.
With price.
Now, yes. Now,
That's
in
right.
price war, nobody wins. Now, am I operating in the blue ocean strategy where I am actually competing based on value? The value I'm providing to my target audience, the intending users of my business. What value am I providing? You also look at what we call the USP. What is the unique selling proposition? What is different from what I'm offering, compared to what others are offering? So these are some of the elements we think should be in a business plan, because this helps to guide the individual, that entrepreneur who intends to move into that business. So once you look at that full market scenario, now you move into another element, which is again very critical. You are looking at competitive scenario. Now you ask yourself, who are in the market before now Who are the guys that possibly intend to enter? But what is sure to you is for those who are already there.
That's right.
So you can always know those who are there. Now you get to study them. What have they done well? What haven't they done well? Can I improve on what they are currently doing? What is new from me? What am I going to add, to the market as a differentiator? In the market. So if I'm coming with the same thing, so you're operating me too. That's nothing different, So you need to be able to come up with something unique about your proposition. So these are things we again check in competitive scenario. You are looking at competitors from various angles. You are looking at competitors from the point of view of capital availability. You are looking at them from the point of view of visibility. You are looking at them from the point of view of brand equity. If their brand equity is so high, that means in terms of those elements that measure brand equity, which include brand awareness, brand loyalty, perceived quality, and brand association. If these guys are already strong in those areas, so how are you going to enter this market and still succeed? These are things that your business plan will encapsulate. So that is on competitive scenario. But thereafter, that's to the end. You are now looking at, when this is done, you now say, okay, what are the products I'm offering? What services am I offering? My products, who are my target audience? Who do I intend to sell to? Is it B2B? Is it B2C? Am I selling to individuals? Am I selling to corporate bodies? That is business to business. Right. That will not determine the kind of structure you will run. You can start to run a sales organization where everybody within the organization is a salesperson. Right? You can start to also run an organization where a department drives sales, while others are supporting departments. Right? However, whichever will depend on the nature of the business, the type of business or service you are running. So that is on the products and services. But on the products and services. Then you determine the structure, what we call organogram. Now, organizational structure are a determination of those priceless assets, the individuals who have the competence and the experience to drive the entire process. So if you recruit the wrong people, what they say, put square hole in square pegs. But if you bring square holes and put it around pegs, it's not going to fit. So you must get people who have the requisite experience and the competence to drive the kind of business that you intend to drive. So these are critical elements, in writing a business plan. That's not all. Because by the time you are through with this, you now move into what we call the marketing plan. This is a business plan. Then you have a marketing plan as a sub-element of a business plan. So in the marketing plan components, now you are looking at 4 critical areas. You are looking at the product. You are looking at pricing as a mechanics. You are looking at place. That is the distribution mix. Then you are looking at promotion, which today we call the IMC, which we call integrated marketing communication. It's integrated because there are other sub-mixes under it. So in defining your product, very critical. That is why we say, what is a product on its own? What is a product? A product is that element that carries value. That you spend your money and you are smiling. You are not frowning because you are seeing value.
That's right.
Right? That's a product. But even if you look at product a little bit deeper, you say, what are the core elements, what we call the core products, and what are the augmented benefits? So if I'm drinking a bottle of something and a drink, so what is inside? Maybe a bottle of water, right? And maybe I bought that brand based on impulse because of the packaging. If I drink it and it's tasteless, it's colorless, it's odorless, that's good water, right? Now, but that is the real product, what we call the core product. Now, but that package, that label, that tap, that size, that you saw, that you say, this looks good, is just mere augmented benefit. And that's why if you see people that run product as today on in FMCG, you will discover clearly they spend a lot of money to situate those products. Sometimes the products will even acquire more image than the brand itself.
That's right.
Right. So I don't want to mention some brands here, but otherwise you see some products in the market today, you don't know who's making them, but you know the product. Because they have spent money in defining that product and situating those products in the minds of the critical publics. Now that's on product. Now you move to pricing. in different sectors of the economy, in different sectors of business, you will discover different kind of pricing models. If it's in telecoms, the pricing is rigorous, right? But in other segments, you see pricing may not be, a rigorous exercise. You might look at competitive benchmark and you fix your price. You can decide to say, oh, what strategy am I going to adopt? Am I going to adopt, skimming the cream? Am I going to just follow the market? Am I going to do market penetration strategy? Different strategies are bound on pricing. You now move to distribution, which you call the place mix. Now whether you're doing exclusive or intensive distribution depends on the kind of service or product you are offering. Now, but whichever one, if that is brought to our table, we'll ask you those questions you can ask yourself, and we'll be able to determine the kind of product, the service, the market, and the kind of price that will suit it. Then you move to, what has been the bane of many businesses today. Many MSMEs do not have funding to be able to drive market and branding equity. The issue is that, you see some products today are doing so well, right? But they are still communicating every day.
That's true.
Because the point is that at the point of stagnation, you will decline. So to maintain growth, you have to continue to build equity. You have to keep communicating, because it's in communication that you target your real audience who will have need for your product. But before you communicate, the products are available at the places. That's where place mix comes to play.
Yeah.
The products are available so that when they go out, they will find it to buy. Then it becomes important to say, if I'm advertising or I'm communicating or I'm situating my brand in the minds of the relevant or critical publics, now what means?
Okay, at this point, I think because of time, we need to move on. If I write a business plan and I raise funding, at that point, can I do away with the business plan?
It is not possible. In fact, it is an anathema. It is an aberration in business to drop your business plan at any point in time, right? Because you think you've done well, you've gotten money and all that, you drop a business plan. No, your business plan is something you need as a guide. On daily basis, you are looking at it. On quarterly basis, you are reviewing. When they say smart objective, today we're talking about smarter objective. The ER there is evaluation and review, right? So it means that quarterly or half yearly, you go back to same business plan and say, these predefined milestones, am I actually there? Am I getting at those points? If yes, great. If not, what do I do to ensure I reach those milestones? So it is important you keep looking at it. So there's no time when you will drop your business plan. It is a guideline, it's a map, it's something you use to check, whether various milestones have been met.
And also, is it necessary that I must write my own business plan?
Okay, it is not, because you may be an intending entrepreneur, but you don't have understanding of even how to go about it. So that you have an idea does not mean you know how to write a business plan. They put a right business plan, like CREM, for example. We specialize in things like that. We've written various business plans for various companies, and they're doing well today. So you may not necessarily write a business plan. So you always look for experts who do this, and CREM is handy.